It's nice to see so many people gathered here today. We are here today to celebrate, and this is truly a celebration. We are celebrating specifically the completion of 4 brand new, renovated, in the heart of our neighborhoods playgrounds, and a 5th, which will be completed next year. This really is great news for the residents of our city, both young and old. This project actually began almost 5 years ago when I was first elected mayor. We realized, boy, that with the city having 27 parks and playgrounds, there were so many needed upgrades. There was real safety concerns at a number of our different playgrounds. And with the help of the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, DCNR, we were able to get a grant, first an initial seed grant, to identify those playgrounds most in need and then prioritize them according to various priorities throughout the city. Now, DCNR gave the city the grant funds for the design of each of those playgrounds, and we conducted a series of neighborhood meetings, all of which were well attended. Some were in the pouring down rain, but people came out, and we collected information which has basically guided the renovations that we see here today and that you will see if you visit the other playgrounds on your trips around the city. I think neighbors should be very proud of their input, and I've already heard from many here today about how excited they are about seeing this right here. Having attractive green spaces, providing inviting, safe places for young people to learn and play, that's really what it's all about. And these are places not only for young and old to play, but also for families to gather and to build community and create memories that will last a long time. The playgrounds that have been renovated so far include this playground, affectionately known as Cloverly Heights, the playground at Penn and Sayford, which you'll have to check out, one at Norwood and Holly, and one at Royal Terrace. And the 5th playground, which is on schedule to be completed in 2019, is at 4th and Dauphin. Now, different amenities have been added to each of the playgrounds. If you tour and you look at the various things here, not only you see newly resurfaced basketball court and a rain garden and new playground equipment and a new beautiful pavilion, but at the various playgrounds you'll see that they each have their own unique identifying features, ranging from newly ADA accessible entrances to a lot of new equipment to various trails and play areas and gaming areas at each of the different playgrounds. So we encourage you to check each of them out. The renovations, which were extensive, have been made possible by a partnership. And I want to stress this. It's been a wonderful, wonderful partnership working between the City of Harrisburg, Capital Region Water, DCNR, and also the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development and Impact Harrisburg. And you're going to hear a little bit from each of those various stakeholders here in a moment. I do want to give special shout out and thanks to some of the officials that have come today to be with us. I want to thank Senator John DeSanto, who spent all morning with me dealing with other city-related issues, to be here again on this hot afternoon. Angel Fox, I believe, is in the back from Patty Kim's office. Representative Kim sends her best wishes. Council President Wanda Williams, right there, sitting down, along with Cornelius Johnson. And I saw Asha Green come in. And I don't know if there's any other members of City Council, but I think we've got 3, and that's terrific, each of whom have taken a real interest in these projects. And of course, in a moment, we're going to thank the Sylvan Heights Elementary School students and their STEM coordinator, Lori Lawver. They have adopted the rain garden in this park, and that will culminate this press conference when they arrive. A special thank you to the neighbors around the park. We look forward to having a lot of fun here and many, many community gatherings. And before we say anything more, I want to allow all of our partners to speak, because really this represents a collaboration. We have spent already over $2 million on these playgrounds. And it came from funding from a variety of sources. I told you about the city's stake and CRW and DCNR, but also DCD and Impact Harrisburg each gave grants, allowing us to cover the total cost, cumulative cost of all of these renovations. But nothing really would have been possible without CRW, with its commitment to green infrastructure and improving lives right here in our neighborhoods. I want to thank them especially, and I want to introduce their board chairman, Mr. Mark Kurowski, and I know there are other dignitaries from CRW here, but we'll let Mark say a few words. Mark.
Awesome. You good?
I'll take my water.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks everybody for coming out on another scorching hot September day. As the mayor mentioned, this project has been a few years in the making. For Capital Region Water, basically started back in 2016 when we actually had a block party right here at this very playground. Looked quite a bit different at that point in time, with over 200 attendees. This was part of our green infrastructure plan, which I would note was also funded by our friends in part at DCNR. And at that time, we heard pretty loud and clear from the neighbors who attended the meeting that they wanted CRW to manage stormwater and to continue to invest in green infrastructure projects in public spaces just like this, playgrounds and other opportunities where we could find in an urban setting like we all experience here in the city of Harrisburg. So what you're seeing here today is a pretty good example of how CRW has been able to turn some input gathered during that block party in particular, and some other events where we were soliciting input from residents and other stakeholders in the area to turn those into real projects. As the mayor mentioned, there's been a few other parks here in the city. Of the 4 that I believe that were renovated, 3 of those now include green infrastructure. So we're happy to be able to kind of marry that aesthetic and the improvement of the facility itself for the recreational use of the playground, but also then to be able to work in some green infrastructure and address stormwater management issues at the same time. Here at Cloverleaf Heights, we're standing on one of the biggest features, which is the porous basketball court, which if you ever see, well, I think we might give a demonstration today, it just absorbs the water. It's way different than you would see like on a road that has a bit of a different surface to it. In addition, we've got a rain garden, and there's a quite extensive underground storage system as well that manages the stormwater runoff from what it amounts to essentially over 2 acres of impervious or paved coverage. As with many of our CRW projects, you don't see a lot of what we do. A lot of those things happen below grade, but they're here and they're an integral part of what's happening here at the park, and again, for our overall community management of stormwater facilities. So to kind of echo the mayor and some of the partners, we wanted to also thank the varied and multiple partners on this project, ranging from Sheila and her folks at the Impact Harrisburg group for contributing $250,000 toward the construction of the porous basketball courts, to Lauren, who both are going to speak here shortly, at DCNR for their funding, but also for DCNR's willingness to take more of an innovative approach to recreation projects like this, where we can incorporate green infrastructure and stormwater management. Obviously, and without, goes without saying, but to the city of Harrisburg, to the mayor, to the administration, to council, to staff, everybody who's been such a key part of making this thing happen and bringing all the right pieces together, not just here, but for all the collaborative projects that we've been fortunate enough to work on in the city. The mayor also mentioned, and we'd certainly like to give a shout out to Lori Lawver and the students from Sylvan Heights Science Charter School. They're actually going to be helping beyond today, after today, helping our crews maintain the rain garden during the school year. So there's an educational component here as well. So we've checked a lot of boxes with this little project, and we're very excited to be part of it. I would also mention, I believe, Greg Welker from DCED, who has also been a contributor and partner to this project. Certainly to the neighbors in the area who have been out and have expressed interest and opinions and given us very valuable feedback that we could incorporate and make this thing be truly a community project. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention, joining me today is Garvey Presley, also a board member at CRW, and the folks that do all the heavy lifting at CRW in terms of the design work. Dave Stewart, Claire Mulhart, and Andrew Bliss is here as well. They do all the stuff. We just show up here and take credit for it. So thanks to everybody for being part of it. Thanks so much for letting us be a part of it. And I'll turn it back to the mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, and it's really been a pleasure to work with CRW on these projects. Special shout out again to Andrew Bliss, who's really helped with a lot of the community engagement and the communication. And I want to acknowledge at this juncture also our Parks and Recreation Director at the city, Mr. Kevin Sanders. Where are you, Kevin? Where is he? He's hiding in the back, even though he did plan the press conference on the asphalt. as opposed to under the pavilion. No, I know how hard you've worked, Kevin. I also want to thank Jackie Parker, and our head of our community and economic development team, and it really was a coordinated effort, and bringing all these groups together has been significant. All right, we're going to get to the stars of the show here in a moment, but I want to introduce DCNR Deputy Secretary Laura Imgren to say a few words.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm really excited to be here at Harrisburg. I send greetings from our secretary, Cindy Dunn, who is really excited about these playgrounds that we are dedicating today. I want to say that I'm also here with Lori Yike, who is our regional manager, and all that creativity you heard about from Mark. Lori is the brainchild of that. She's the one who leads all that for us and really helps communities make projects like this happen. So shout out to her. DCNR is committed to partnerships like this that revitalize communities through parks and public spaces that help to build those communities. These playgrounds that we're celebrating today are part of Pennsylvania's over 6,000 local parks and 121 state parks that make our state a great place to live, work, and play. Pennsylvania and Harrisburg itself have a really proud history of supporting public parks and natural areas, and many of the national leaders in this work have called our state home. We can trace that back, in fact, to William Penn, our founder, who asked settlers to preserve 1 acre for every 5 acres cleared. Now, that wasn't totally successful, but, it was a good vision. This legacy has continued in Harrisburg with visionaries such as Myra Lloyd Dock and Horace McFarland, who in the early 1900s led the effort to revitalize Harrisburg through parks including Wildwood Park, Reservoir Park, and the Capital Area Greenbelt, parks that continue to be important resources today. All of that was a precursor actually to something called the National City Beautiful movement, and it's really cool that the Capital Region infrastructure plan, green infrastructure plan, sort of has its name around that City Beautiful because it's perfect for Harrisburg. We know that all Pennsylvanians want local parks. They want that close to home recreation, and we know because we ask them, and they consistently identify local parks that they can easily walk or bike to as a priority for state funding. And also renovation and restoration of the existing parks in their communities like this one here. So DCNR supported, as you've heard, the planning for and the renovation of these playgrounds through $685,000 from the Keystone Park Recreation and Conservation Fund. This fund is celebrating its 25th year this year of investing in projects just like this, and we appreciate the ongoing support of Pennsylvania's legislature here from Representative Kim and Senator DeSanto for their ongoing support for this dedicated funding source. These state funds have supported many projects in the city of Harrisburg and around the state. In fact, 4,500 projects in all over the last 25 years. And we look forward to 25 more years of that funding. This funding helps communities help themselves because a match is required. And we've heard a lot today about the folks bringing that match on here. But we know that projects like this, all that state funding is great, but they can't happen without engaged community and leadership. This unique partnership that we're celebrating and hearing about today is essential for success. Visionaries like the folks you're hearing from and the folks that are here today are the key to making these projects successful. You thought creatively about how to partner to improve the quality of life for your community. So I want to congratulate the city of Harrisburg, represented here by the mayor and city council folks and the citizens, for recognizing that the key to a great city is a great park system. And to recognizing that that great park system includes small neighborhood parks like this one for kids to play that we're making stand in the hot weather over here. Capital Region Water has also played a really unique role here in this project, as you've heard. The green infrastructure plan that DCNR helped to fund included a public process that identified these playgrounds and the renovations of them as a strategy for the stormwater needs and the water quality needs here in the city. It's exciting that the local residents have been part of the process to design this playground, and it's great and a thank you to Impact Harrisburg for their critical investments to complete the porous paving that we're standing on today. And I'm excited that we're joined here by these kids from Sylvan Heights Elementary School, who this is going to be their local park that they're going to be able to spend a lot of time in. So the world is really run by those who show up, and here you are all showing up and bringing vision and energy to work together in your local community. And DCNR is happy to be part of that, celebrating this playground and the other ones here around the city today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I second the notion. I would say that our park system is the city's greatest strength, our pride and joy. It sets us apart, and it really defines us, and has now for over 100 years since the City Beautiful movement. And I'm glad we are taking the time to invest back in our park system and bring all of our playgrounds up to the level which the community really would like to see. But that would not have been possible without DCNR. From the beginning, they really championed and cheerleaded this project. It was something that they felt passionately about, and they worked hand in hand with all the rest of us to get this done. And imagine having not just one state department, but another department in DCED coordinating, seeing to it that we could get grant funding from multiple agencies and committed to rebuilding our park system. So I want to introduce next DCED Director, CFA Programs, Gregory Welker, to say a few words. Greg. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Greg Welker. I am the Director of CFA Programs at the Department of Community and Economic Development. Under our programs, we administer multiple programs that fund various projects throughout the state. One of the programs that I administer is the Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Fund, which is part of the Act 13 package of programs that was funded in 2012 as a result of the collection of impact fees from the Marcellus shale industry. Since 2013, the CFA has approved more than 400 projects and over $53 million of Greenway, Trails, and Recreation Program projects to improve and protect the Commonwealth parks and open spaces. Projects range from the conservation of open spaces to the development of new and rehabilitation of existing parks and recreational facilities. As populations flock closer to and around urban centers, spurring further development, it has become more important than ever to provide quality open space and recreation facilities to the citizens of Pennsylvania. For urban communities, it's no easy task to develop and maintain these facilities. It is through the Greenways, Trails, and Recreation Program that DCD can provide funding for local and regional projects that will enhance the quality of life while establishing safe and accessible facilities for residents and visitors alike. The renovation of Cloverly Heights Playground and 4 other local parks has been visualized by the City of Harrisburg for a number of years, and I am happy to see the project come to fruition. We are proud to partner with both public and private entities such as Capital Region, DCNR, Impact Harrisburg, and of course the city itself to provide assistance for important projects such as this that will serve our citizens and guests for years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again to both DCED and DCNR for your support, and I'm glad you're able to join us today to see the fruits of some of those awards. It really is an extraordinary sight, and if you haven't seen it yet, see the before pictures in the back of the tent, and then you'll get a sense of just how different we are now. We are also fortunate in Harrisburg to have a nonprofit organization which cares deeply about improving neighborhood infrastructure and economic development. That is Impact Harrisburg, and we are joined by their executive director, Ms. Sheila Dow Ford.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you, Mayor Pappenfuss. Good afternoon, friends and colleagues. It's good to see you all. How you doing? You holding up in the heat? It's not going to be that much longer. Don't worry. Okay. But look, this is a very joyous day. All right. It's joyous because we have done something very special for a group of young people who are right there, who are going to give back to us. That's the kind of reciprocity we're looking for in this city that's going to rebuild our city. But let's start from the beginning. Let's start by talking about the fact that Impact Harrisburg is pleased and proud to be a part of this project. This is what we were designed to do, okay? To partner with other entities, to create partnerships to build a better community throughout the city of Harrisburg. You know, when we came to Harrisburg about 25 years ago now, one of the things my family and I noticed is that there are so many parks here. Have you noticed that? There are lots of parks here. 25 years ago, I know. And we needed, and we know that some of them needed some additional work. And feels so good to be a part of a project with all of my colleagues behind me who have spoken and who will speak, who have talked about the need for the kinds of partnerships that will rebuild our community. Why is this important, though? At Impact Harrisburg, we don't really rank our projects. We have 14 projects. We don't say this one is the highest priority and this is the next. We don't do that. But I can tell you that my board thinks this is a very high priority because children are a high priority in our community. Let me tell you, though, how this comes full circle. When we came here almost 25 years ago, one of the things that I did as a volunteer, and this is for the children I'm talking now, was to work with the YWCA. And during my work there, we started the Sylvan Heights Science Charter School. So you're talking to the person who was the first board chairman there and one of the co-founders. It makes me feel wonderful to see you here today fulfilling the mission of Sylvan Heights Science Charter School. That brings the circle fully to life, folks. That is what we're looking for here. That is what our board wants. It is what our community needs. We need to have children who are engaged and active. Everybody remembers spending some time on a playground somewhere playing jacks. I remember jacks, you may not, but I do. All right? Playing jump rope, playing basketball, playing something on a playground. That's important because for children, for kids, play is work. Remember that. For children, play is work. It is the way they engage, the way they learn social skills, the way they learn how to share. So to say that this project is really important to Impact Harrisburg is to not do full justice to the full extent to which we are really happy to be a part of this. Once again, we thank all of our partners who are involved in this, and we look forward to engaging you around more projects in the future. I'd like to give a quick shout out to one of my board members who is here, Jackie Parker. Jackie, thanks for joining us. And to my compliance consultant extraordinaire, Larry Siegel, who is also here. But this comes, my remarks are made on behalf of my entire board. We are thrilled. Children, I'm going to help you with that, okay? Whatever you're doing, I have flip-flops in the car. I'm ready to go, all right? Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Sheila. Now, we are on schedule, and we have time now to take a few questions before we get to the ribbon cutting and the rain garden. So I'd like to open it up for questions from the media for anyone here behind me on anything. Or maybe it was just all so self-explanatory. Okay, hey, we'll take that. We will move now to the main event. And we are going to gather for the ribbon cutting and the demonstration of the porous basketball court surface. So if we could bring the ribbon, where is the ribbon? You've got the ribbon. We'll bring the ribbon forward. I want you to please take note of the different colors on this ribbon. They represent the 4 different playgrounds that we are opening today. And I think they also symbolize the multifaceted partnership that it took to bring something as wonderful as this to fruition.